Y is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
I thought we were buying time here to like kind of.
Yeah, well, no, I was
No.
actually, paying attention to our conversation instead of multitasking.
Oh, yeah, that's why it seems strange.
I know it's very bizarre.
Yeah.
It's a real rarity, but every now and
Yeah.
again, I do.
Thank God I was recording so we could have this moment preserved for posterity.
This is Why, with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling.
And you're getting the vaccine on Friday?
First round on Friday.
All right. Are you nervous at all?
I probably still am, but I
Mhm.
also know it's, what else are you going to do?
Right. Do you think you could FaceTime me in so I can see this
I should.
and we could record it for the show?
Yeah, because I'm such a baby. I had a physical today. It was the funniest thing ever. I'm such a wuss.
Were you crying?
No, I can't stand getting my blood drawn. I did pretty well, but the funny thing is at my doctor's office in the room where they do the blood draws, on this fridge, they have pictures of like an island and a beach.
Mm-hmm.
And on this wall, it's not the hang in there kitten, but they have kitty cats, like cute, adorable kitty cats.
Are they in a basket?
I think they might be in the basket.
Yeah,
but
they gotta be in the basket.
I sat in there today and I looked to the right to look at the kitty cats. No kitty cats. I'm like, where's the cat poster? I was livid.
Guys, come on.
Where's the cat poster? They're like, the one lady's like, I didn't work here then. I'm sorry. I'm like, how can the cat poster be gone? So then I had to look at the island, but that made me sad because I can't go to the island. I can snuggle with kitty cats, but I can't go to the island.
Yeah. No, that's very, very true.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize on their behalf. I apologize. I appreciate your being a trooper.
I know. I can't decide whether I'm going to be more of a baby about getting the shot or more excited because I'm getting it done at the fire department.
Ooh, I want to put money on this. How does one get into extreme pogoing? You grow up pogoing and you just thought, there's got to be a better way to do this?
So, yeah, it's kind of a funny story. I was really into basketball, but I kind of liked the street ballers. Like, I don't know if you ever saw And One Street Ball.
Like Space Jam, kind of?
Yeah, like they were more like the Harlem Globetrotters rebooted in a cool way. So they would always do like trick dunks. So I wanted to do trick dunks. And I saw the trampoline guys. I don't know if you've ever seen the guys who jump off trampolines and do dunks, like with tricks. Yeah, so I kind of was into that for a little bit. And then my dad just stumbled across these pneumatic pogo sticks that were online. And I was kind of like, that's how I'm going to do these dunks. And but then I realized, I did a few dunks or whatever, put them up on YouTube, and then I kind of realized, like, there's a whole culture behind this, and people just do extreme pogo sticking by itself.
How do you even train for this? Because what you're doing, the photos and the video are completely insane. Is there like a gradual process to get up to what looks like jumping off a building?
Yeah, so it's definitely a very steep learning process. That's kind of like the difficulty.
That's a nice word for it.
Yeah. It's hard to teach people how to pogo because it's basically like if you were to put someone who's never skateboarded on top of the mega ramp and just be like, go for it. We all started on like little pogo sticks, and kind of the best way to learn is to, slowly increase how high you're going over the course of, years.
And so what was the learning curve for you? Like, when did you kind of feel like I'm ready to take this out and show this to people? Or are you just in the backyard with friends, doing flips and stuff?
Yeah, no, I was just in the backyard. Making YouTube videos was kind of a big part of our community. So I was, in the backyard. My dad would help me like try to do flips into mud. We had a big mud pile in our backyard. And that's kind of all I did with it for a while until it kind of became a few of the older guys turned it into a company. and they were like, hey, we can do shows. Like, I never really thought of, pogoing for people to see it.
The thing I was curious about, this is an extreme sport. I'm assuming that's what the X stands for in XPogo. How extreme is it if one of the biggest dangers while on a pogo stick is hitting a patch of uneven dirt?
Oh man, I mean, it's definitely like, it's by far the most dangerous thing I've ever done in my life. But
can you name some other dangerous things you've done, just so we can compare and contrast?
I've tried pretty much every extreme sport, and the thing, like I said earlier, the thing with pogo sticking is it's just not chill at all. Like, there's no cruising altitude. So
Sure.
yeah, exactly. So it's just, you kind of have to take it really slow, and it's a lot different than what you would think if you were gonna try it.
So how did the evolution come from doing all this crazy stuff in the back and figuring out how to do it to becoming part of the team?
So basically what had happened for me was I went for my first backflip into mud, right? And my dad, and I basically just eat it, like whiplash into the ground.
Oh.
And I put it up on YouTube, and this company bought it from me for like a couple $1,000s to put on their TV show. And I was like, wow, I just made money for landing on my face, basically. And then right when that happened, I kind of was like, oh, maybe I could like do some sort of thing where I make money on the side from this. And there's this competition. It's our main competition every year. It's called Pogo Palooza.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I showed up to that event, and that was Pogo Palooza 8, I believe, back in 2011. And it was right when the older guys who had been doing the sport for a little bit longer than me decided to turn this into a company, and they, asked me if I wanted to do like a music video. So that was my first like real gig where I made, money for going out to New York to pogo for the band Bronze Radio Return. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, and then it just turned into fairs, and then we'd get gigs from like, college basketball games, and then it turned into NBA games, and then we did America's Got Talent. So it just kind of gradually increased. The more shows we did, the more high profile stuff we did.
With the YouTube videos, do you make more money if it's a successful attempt or unsuccessful?
I make no money on YouTube videos.
Okay,
The first one where I landed on my face was the only one I got. I think I just got lucky.
Yeah, beginner's luck.
Yeah, exactly.
So what exactly, how is Pogo Palooza run? Is it a judging competition? Is it by points? Is the North Korean judge really difficult? Or is it a time trial type kind of thing?
Yeah, for sure. So Pogo Palooza has 3 main events. The first one's high jump. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just set up like a high jump bar and you try to jump over it. The second one is best trick, and you basically have an hour to it's free for all. Everyone's just going for the biggest trick they can possibly try. And that's kind of judged by older pogo stickers who don't really do it as much. And they just kind of, it's also pretty unanimous because everyone understands like what everyone else is doing. So it's pretty unanimous when someone does, something crazy that you can't believe. And then the main event is called freestyle. And basically it's much like you would see a skateboarding or BMX competition in the X Games, where you have a minute to go around this obstacle course, put together the most flowy, technical lines or tricks without falling in a minute.
That sounds daunting.
Yeah, and then we also have some other things like on the side. There's usually a couple people who are into, seeing who can break the world record for fastest mile or most jumps consecutively on a pogo stick. So there's a lot of stuff happening all at once, and super fun event.
So what's your signature move, if there is one? What's the thing you're best known for?
Well, the thing I'm best known for was the double stick flip, and I just landed it last Pogapalooza. It's a trick that I feel like we've all been trying since we all started, basically. You jump up in the air and you swing it around twice, the pogo stick itself.
Okay.
And so, everyone can do single stick flips, and we always dreamed of doing doubles, but it's just so heavy, and I just kind of got super lucky. I had a bunch of coffee. I was really hyped up, and I've been practicing it all year as well, so I was able to do that, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that again.
Hey, you did it once. That's all that matters.
As a legend is there. That's fantastic. I wouldn't even know where to start to try to do something like that.
Very small. Like, I always recommend, whenever I'm at a fair, there's always like some guy who's had a few beers and he's like, I bounced on a pogo stick, like, let me try that. And I just have to explain to him, like, this is not a trampoline. Like, if you hit the wrong angle, like you said, like a patch of dirt or something, you could lose, all your teeth. So start on the kid's pogo stick and work your way up.
And what kind of injuries are you seeing apart from eating dinner through a straw for a few months?
Yeah, there's so many, like literally everything ever. I've fractured, for me personally, I've fractured both my kneecaps, knocked out teeth, concussions, and then the big one that everyone loves to ask me about is I ruptured my urethra. Because that's a thing.
And yet you still love the sport.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm a pretty I don't even know how to describe myself, but it makes it more fun when it's a little more adrenaline, and there's, I mean, the better I get at it, the less I get injured, obviously, knock on wood, but it's all about body control, and you're able to learn more about your body by like going through, maybe a smaller injury. Of course, you never want a big injury, but you learn like how to move your body in certain ways and how to rehab from it. And nothing that's ever, made me want to quit has ever happened. So.
And I'm guessing most of the injuries are not going up, it's coming down.
Exactly. Like you could hit your head on a ceiling or like a low flying plane or something, but that doesn't really happen.
I hate to go back to what probably was a very painful day for you. What does rupturing one's urethra feel like?
Oh yeah, so it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
I was, it's just like, it's one of those, novelty injuries that everyone's like, I bet you, got racked on the pogo stick. And I'm like, yes, I did. But I was at a stampede, and apparently it's a super common injury for bull riders because your urethra kind of goes right under there. Right. And so they had all of the medical staff like prepared specifically for that injury, and so everyone thought I was just a bull rider, and it kind of worked out for me.
Yeah, that's probably the only time you can describe that as lucky. Some of the tricks, a lot of the tricks, the names are just a description of what the trick is. There's the 1 foot peg grab, there's the under the leg bar, there's something called the can, which I'm presuming is designed by a Frenchman. Have you ever considered kind of creating your own signature move and giving it some cool name? It's sort of like the dinner roll or the Rus. Do you have the Rus?
No, we have a trick called the Rus butt.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, you put your butt on the foot pegs and kind of ride it like a witch's broom.
Okay.
But I've never done that. That was just my friend being silly.
No, if what I've read online is true, there are 13 world records held by your fellow XPogoers. Do you hold any of these records? Have you attempted any of these records?
So I held a world record for about 5 minutes, and then I got beaten. But it was for most jumps in a minute. But I've been practicing. I've been spending a lot of time working on training for the highest front flip and the fastest mile on a pogo stick. So it's on my radar to do those two this year. But, you know, like, I just haven't been able to keep one. So that's definitely, like, one of my goals this year is to get a world record in something.
So I'm assuming you just practiced around your neighborhood usually?
Yeah, just literally anywhere. I like to go to cities. I try to go up to, like, Baltimore, or, you know, Pittsburgh is really great for, you know, street scenarios. And we actually pogo on turf fields a lot because it's kind of like a training ground. You don't get hurt as bad as cement, and it's harder to slip out. So turf is really a big thing for pogo stickers.
Do you find you have an audience when you're practicing? Do people just start watching you and staring at what you're doing?
Oh, yeah. I can't even, like, even if I don't start pogoing, I'm just holding it, I usually have at least 5 people staring at me. So you get used to it. But
Have you seen that spread? I know you guys have performed all around the world. Is the legend of XPogo translating to our friends overseas?
Yeah, definitely. We have a whole group of French pogo stickers now, and so they've been progressing over the past few years, and they've actually gotten really good. And we also have some new guys out in Iran who are just getting into the sport too. And then we have one Russian who's been there since day one, and he's madman.
Wow.
Not to stereotype a whole group of people, but do the French stop smoking while they're on their pogo stick, or do they just keep going?
Oh man, I wish they would smoke on the pogo stick. That'd be hilarious.
Is there a particular country that's sort of the country to beat? That's the big rival?
No, most of the people who do it are in the U.S. I would just say Russia, just because our one Russian guy, Dmitry, is definitely like one of the best all time. And so he's always, you know, he's the only one who would really like be in the beating any of the top guys for sure. He's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Are you listening, Dmitry? Watch your urethra. They're coming for you. I don't know when, and I'm sure you similarly feel like you don't know when the next big show is going to be, when Pogo Palooza is going to be held, given everything that else is going on in the world. Once everything gets back up and kind of everyone can just pogo like it's 1999, what's the next big step for you and for the sport? You said you're aiming for a world record.
Yeah. I think the next big step for me personally, as well as some of the guys that I work with in pogo sticking, is creating, you know, a big content piece where it's almost like more focused on pushing the tricks and the boundaries of XPogo, instead of focusing on like the novelty. Like, yeah, we can do a backflip, you know, obviously at any NBA halftime show, and that's great. But we really want to push the sport in terms of like, it would be stuff that most people wouldn't, you know, understand. Like you would see it go under your leg and be like, oh, that was cool. But it was actually a completely different trick. And, you know, just for the future, like if people, I want to make a video where like kids 30 years from now who really get into pogo sticking catch all those nuances and see all those little things that we pushed and progressed, so that, you know, they have like a baseline of what the sport is, instead of just, you know, a bunch of guys doing backflips. Like usually the flips are the easy part. So
when does the moment of joy and sort of elation come for you? Is it in the midst of a trick thinking, oh, this is going all right? Or are you so focused on the various steps required to complete the trick and not kill yourself that it's only afterwards when you're like, wow, that was really cool?
Yeah. For me, it kind of happens right whenever I get the chance to pogo. Like, I'm always a little more excited when I land a trick or something, but just being able to pump up my pogo stick with air and start bouncing is really, what feels good for me. And everything that comes along with it, whether it be anxiety from the trick or, frustration from trying something a million times, I find joy in all of it. So there's never, there's really no parts that I don't enjoy.
For more information, you can find XPogo on Twitter at XPogo. You can visit their website, xpogo.com. And if you search XPogo on YouTube, you can see video of Russ and the rest of the team doing a ton of things that you probably should be not trying to do yourself.
You can follow us on all the various socials. Our website is whythepodcast.com and has all sorts of additional stories and videos. It's also where you can sign up for our newsletter. We're also on YouTube, if you're into that kind of thing. And don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes, because if you don't, we'll call your mother and tell her that she's completely right. You would look so much prettier if you smiled more.
Why the Podcast is part of Mudhouse Media. Today's show was produced by myself and Heidi Hegquist. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing executive producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our graphic designer is Samantha Mustonen. The theme song was performed by the Electrosynth-O-Magnetic Polyphonic Orchestra. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Flash, we're coming home.
Nigel, is that you? Are you here, Nigel?